In today's world, where information flows endlessly and the pace of life accelerates daily, many people face the problem of declining memory and cognitive function. Surely everyone has experienced the unpleasant feeling when the name of a familiar person suddenly slips from memory, or when, entering a room, you completely forget why you came there. Often such manifestations are attributed to age, but a deeper problem may lie behind them. According to renowned neurosurgeon Rahul Jandial, brain aging is not an inevitable sentence. The brain has an amazing ability to adapt and recover. It can be trained, improved, and even rebooted to function as effectively as in youth. However, if the situation is left to chance, brain cells will gradually begin to deteriorate, memory will worsen, and reactions will slow down. Ultimately, a person may face a sense of losing oneself. But do not despair, because there are scientifically proven methods that can maintain brain health for many years. We will discuss 3 such methods, each with unique properties and advantages. Special attention will be paid to the 3rd method, which is so effective that it is used by doctors performing complex brain surgeries. So, the first method we will discuss is square breathing, an ancient practice rooted in the traditions of Buddhist monks. Stress is one of the main enemies of the brain. It has a devastating effect on neurons, impairs memory, and slows down thought processes. Many people notice that in a state of stress it becomes difficult for them to concentrate, words become confused, and decision-making turns into a real torment. However, according to the neurosurgeon, proper breathing can instantly improve brain function and reduce stress levels. This technique, known to Buddhist monks for over 25 centuries, has only recently attracted the attention of scientists who have proven its positive impact on neural connections. Rahul Jandial personally participated in studies confirming that mindful breathing activates the amygdala, reduces cortisol levels, and improves concentration. The basis of this method is as follows. Inhale through the nose, counting to 4, then hold your breath for 4 seconds. Exhale slowly, again counting to 4, and finally, pause before the next inhalation, again counting to 4. This cycle is repeated for several minutes. This rhythm helps stabilize heart rate, improve oxygen supply to the brain, and strengthen cognitive functions. For example, a woman suffering from chronic anxiety began practicing this technique before bed. After a month, she noted improved memory, easier concentration, and the disappearance of anxiety. Her brain began to function more clearly because it was no longer overloaded with constant tension. However, breathing exercises are only the first step. The next method activates the process of neuron renewal and helps slow down aging at the cellular level. This is intermittent fasting, a kind of nutrition to maintain brain youth. Studies confirm that this approach not only helps cleanse the body, but also rejuvenates neurons. Rahul Jandial and his colleagues at Johns Hopkins University have found that prolonged breaks between meals stimulate neurogenesis, the process of forming new brain cells. This, in turn, reduces the risk of developing dementia, improves memory, and increases concentration. When the body does not expend energy on continuous digestion, it directs it to recovery. Jandial himself adheres to the 16-8 system. He has dinner before 5 p.m. and resumes eating only the next day. According to him, it is this habit that helps him maintain maximum concentration during many hours of operations, providing clarity of thought, a stable level of energy, and a high speed of information processing. To achieve a tangible effect, it is not necessary to immediately switch to strict regimes. You can start small, skip breakfast twice a week, gradually increasing the periods of abstinence from food, allowing the brain to rest and renew itself. A man suffering from constant forgetfulness decided to try this method. After 2 weeks, he noticed that he began to remember the necessary information faster. It became easier for him to concentrate, and the morning fog in his mind disappeared. Even with the most balanced diet, the brain can imperceptibly lose its sharpness if one common mistake is made daily. The secret to maintaining clarity of mind lies in a simple principle: more vertical position, less sedentary lifestyle. Many may not realize it, but a significant portion of life is spent sitting, while eating, in front of the television, on public transportation. Add to that 8 hours of sleep, and it becomes clear that the brain receives very little stimulation. This lack of activity accelerates aging processes and destroys neural connections. According to experts, the human brain is evolutionarily programmed to work actively in motion. When a person stands or walks, blood circulation improves, and the production of BDNF protein increases, a key component responsible for neuron growth and protection. Conversely, prolonged sitting reduces the ability to concentrate and weakens memory. A telling example is Valentine, 72, who noticed memory impairment, confusion, and a feeling of brain fog. His doctor recommended a simple solution: spend at least 3 hours a day standing. Valentine began talking on the phone while standing, set up a high place for reading, and took short walks. After just a month, he felt a significant improvement in clarity of thought and concentration. Remarkably, this method proves effective even without intense physical exertion. By increasing the time spent on your feet during the day, you can activate brain function and improve its performance. In the East, there is another ancient way to maintain brain activity for many years, the effect of which can be felt almost immediately. This is the ancient Chinese practice of brain massage. Thousands of years ago, Taoist sages established that certain points on the head are closely related to brain activity. Stimulating these points helps improve memory, increase concentration, and even prevent age-related changes in cognitive functions. Indeed, acupressure can activate blood circulation and stimulate neuron function. An elderly teacher from China, who maintained mental clarity and phenomenal memory until the age of 90, claimed that it was thanks to massage that he was able to maintain brain activity and retain the ability to learn. This method involves several simple movements. For example, pressing on the point between the eyebrows helps improve concentration and relieve mental stress. Circular movements in the temples activate memory. Light tapping on the back of the head stimulates blood flow to the brain. By dedicating just 5 minutes a day to this practice, you can notice how thoughts become clearer and the process of memorizing information becomes much easier. Just as physical exercise strengthens muscles, intellectual activity can maintain and rejuvenate the brain. Ignoring mental exertion leads to a weakening of cognitive functions. Rahul Jandial convincingly proves that brain aging is not an irreversible process, but rather the result of certain habits. In particular, conscious breathing helps reduce stress levels, which have a devastating effect on neurons. The practice of intermittent fasting provides the brain with the opportunity to recover and stimulate renewal processes. The simple habit of spending more time in an upright position stimulates blood circulation and improves cognitive abilities, and ancient Chinese massage techniques can instantly activate the electrical activity of neurons. A comprehensive application of these methods can restore the brain's former speed and efficiency. The main question is whether a person is ready to start applying them immediately. The secret to eternal youth of the mind lies in the ability to focus. Why do some people remain active, energetic, and clear-minded even in old age, continuing to develop their intellect? The key lies in the direction of attention. The brain is like a compass, pointing the direction. If it is constantly focused on problems, fears, and negative aspects, then the mind gradually adapts to such a perception. However, if attention is directed to knowledge, development, and creation, then thinking becomes stronger and more productive. Studies show that people who consciously control their attention and environment are 40% less likely to experience memory and cognitive decline. An important factor is how the day begins. If the morning is filled with anxiety, thoughts of problems, or useless news browsing, the brain tunes into a chaotic mood. However, if you set the right direction for yourself in the morning, defining goals, new knowledge, and sources of inspiration, then the mind will become sharper every day. Thus, each person is faced with a choice: to allow negativity to capture their intellect or to take control of their attention and maintain clarity of mind for many years. Having an extensive wealth of knowledge, you have familiarized yourself with 5 fundamental principles that can help maintain clarity of thinking into old age. However, it's important to remember that knowledge without action remains just useless information. Only those who consistently apply these principles in practice will experience real change. After all, your mind is the most valuable asset you possess. Material possessions can be reacquired, and physical fitness can be restored. But if the mind begins to fade, restoring it to its former state becomes an almost impossible task. Perhaps you've noticed the first signs of memory decline. For example, when meeting someone familiar, you struggle to recall their name, which seems to be stuck on the tip of your tongue. Or, upon entering a room, you suddenly realize you've forgotten the purpose of your visit. Dismissing these occurrences as age-related changes, you may be overlooking a more serious problem. Renowned neurosurgeon Rahul Jandial has convincingly demonstrated that brain aging is not an inevitable sentence. The brain possesses an amazing ability to train, improve, and reboot, allowing it to function as effectively as it did in its youth. However, if its development is neglected, brain cells will begin to deteriorate, memory will weaken, and reactions will slow down. Ultimately, you risk losing control of yourself and your life without even realizing the changes taking place. Today, the reader will discover 3 scientifically proven ways to maintain brain activity for many years. Special attention will be paid to the 3rd method, which is so effective that it is used by doctors performing complex neurosurgical procedures. The first method, known as box breathing, has its roots in the practice of Buddhist monks. It is well known that stress has a devastating effect on the brain, leading to the death of neurons, impaired memory, and slowed thinking processes. Many people have noticed that during periods of increased stress, they find it difficult to concentrate, confuse words, and have difficulty making decisions. An experienced neurosurgeon claims that proper breathing can instantly improve brain function and reduce stress levels. This technique, used by Buddhist monks for over 25 centuries, has only recently received scientific confirmation of its impact on neural connections. Dr. Jandial personally participated in research and confirmed that mindful breathing activates the amygdala in the brain, reduces cortisol levels, and improves concentration. The essence of the method is as follows. Inhale through the nose, counting to 4, then hold your breath for 4 seconds. Exhale slowly, again counting to 4. And finally, pause before the next breath, also counting to 4. This cycle is repeated for several minutes. This rhythm stabilizes heart rate, improves oxygen supply to the brain, and strengthens cognitive functions. As an example, consider the story of a woman suffering from chronic anxiety who began practicing this method before bed. After a month, she noted a significant improvement in memory, increased concentration, and reduced anxiety levels. Her brain began to work more clearly and efficiently because it was no longer overloaded with constant tension. However, breathing exercises are only the first step towards maintaining brain health. In the search for an elixir of youth for the brain, scientists are increasingly turning to intermittent fasting, which can trigger neuron renewal processes and slow down aging at the cellular level. Studies confirm that this approach not only helps cleanse the body, but also has a rejuvenating effect on brain cells. Rahul Jandial and his team at Johns Hopkins University made an important discovery. Prolonged breaks between meals stimulate neurogenesis, the process of forming new brain cells. This mechanism reduces the likelihood of developing dementia, improves memory, and increases the ability to concentrate. When the body is freed from the continuous work of digesting food, it directs energy to recovery and renewal. Dr. Jandial himself adheres to the 16-8 system, finishing dinner before 5 p.m. and resuming eating only the next day. According to him, it is this habit that allows him to maintain maximum concentration during long operations, ensuring clarity of thought, stable energy levels, and high speed of information processing. To feel positive changes, there is no need to immediately resort to strict fasting regimens. You can start small. For example, skip breakfast twice a week, gradually increasing the periods without food. This will allow the brain to rest and activate renewal processes. As an example, consider the story of a man who suffered from constant forgetfulness. After 2 weeks of intermittent fasting, he noticed significant improvements. Information surfaced more quickly in his memory, concentration improved, and morning grogginess disappeared. Even with the most balanced diet, the brain risks losing its former activity if a person makes one common mistake daily. The secret to maintaining mental acuity lies in increasing the time spent on your feet and reducing a sedentary lifestyle. Many may not realize it, but a significant portion of life is spent sitting while eating in front of the television on public transport. If you add to that 8 hours of sleep, it becomes obvious that the brain lacks stimulation. This, in turn, accelerates the aging process and destroys neural connections. According to scientists, the human brain is evolutionarily programmed for active work in motion. When a person stands or walks, blood circulation improves, stimulating the production of the protein BDNF, a key component responsible for the growth and protection of neurons. Prolonged sitting, on the other hand, reduces concentration and weakens memory. A telling example is the story of Valentine, 72, who noticed memory impairment, confusion, and a feeling of fog in his head. The doctor advised him a simple solution: spend at least 3 hours a day on his feet. Valentine started talking on the phone while standing, used a high stand for reading, and took short walks. After a month, he felt a significant improvement in clarity of thought and concentration. Remarkably, this method is effective even without intense physical exertion. Simply increasing the time spent standing activates the brain and helps improve its functions. In the depths of the Asian continent lies another time-tested secret that can maintain cognitive activity for many years. This refers to ancient Chinese brain massage techniques, the beneficial effects of which are felt almost instantly. Many centuries ago, Taoist sages discovered that certain points on the head are closely related to brain activity. Stimulation of these points stimulates memory, increases concentration, and prevents age-related changes in cognitive functions. Acupressure activates blood flow and stimulates neurons. An example is the story of an elderly Chinese teacher who maintained clarity of thought and phenomenal memory until the age of 90. He claimed that regular massage helped him keep his brain in shape and maintain his ability to learn. This technique involves several simple movements. For example, pressing on the point between the eyebrows helps improve concentration and relieve mental tension. Circular movements in the temples activate memory, and light tapping on the back of the head improves blood circulation in the brain. Just 5 minutes a day devoted to this practice can significantly improve clarity of thought and facilitate the process of memorizing information. Like muscles that require regular exercise to maintain strength, the brain also needs constant training and stimulation to stay young and active. Without proper load, it begins to lose its effectiveness. Rahul Jandial has convincingly demonstrated that brain aging is not an inevitable sentence, but rather a result of improper habits and lifestyle. Conscious breathing, for example, is a powerful tool for reducing stress levels, which are known to have a destructive effect on neurons. Intermittent fasting, in turn, provides the brain with the opportunity to recover and trigger cell renewal processes. Even a simple habit like standing more often can significantly improve blood circulation and increase cognitive function. In addition, ancient Chinese massage techniques can instantly activate the electrical activity of neurons. By combining these methods, you can ensure that the brain begins to function with the same speed and efficiency as in youth. The only question is whether a person is ready to start applying them in practice. What is the secret to an ageless mind? Surely many have wondered why some people remain active, energetic, and creative even in old age. They not only maintain clarity of mind, but also continue to develop their intellect. The key to this phenomenon lies in the ability to focus attention. The brain is like a compass pointing the direction. If it is constantly directed at problems, fears, and negative thoughts, then the mind gradually adapts to such perception. However, if you direct your attention to knowledge, development, and creation, then thinking becomes stronger and more productive. Studies show that people who consciously control their attention and environment are 40% less likely to experience memory and cognitive decline. What matters is how the day begins. If your morning begins with anxiety, dwelling on problems, or consuming news filled with negativity, your brain becomes attuned to a chaotic state. However, if you set the right course from the very start by defining your goals, aspirations, and sources of inspiration, your mind will sharpen with each passing day. Thus, every individual faces a choice: to allow negative thoughts to overwhelm their intellect, or to take control of their attention and maintain a clear mind for years to come. Humanity possesses valuable knowledge, such as 5 fundamental rules that can preserve clarity of thought into old age. However, it is important to remember that knowledge unsupported by action remains merely information. Only those who practically apply these principles will experience real change. It is essential to recognize that the mind is the most valuable asset each of us possesses. Material possessions, such as money, can be increased, and physical fitness can be restored. But if the mind begins to lose its sharpness, restoring it to its former state will be incredibly difficult.